In this analysis of Moon Dreams, I'll show you some of Gil Evans' magic harmonies, as well as show you how I came about formulating my rules for harmonizing passages in the Gil Evans style. If you don't know it yet, the superb arrangement featuring Miles Davis is from the classic album Birth of the Cool, and it's tranquil, harmonically complex, and beautifully rich. Rule 1 out of my 4, the bass line should be a good melody, is beautifully displayed in this piece. Just have a look at the melody and the bass line, played by the tuba. I've taken the chords that Gil employed away and just left the basic chords from the bass part in. That way you can just concentrate on the complementary bass line and melody relationship. I love the use of contrary motion and focus on the important notes of the melody. This works especially well at slower tempos. I've often talked about target chords and analyses on my channel, and you can see that happening here in Moon Dreams. Have a look at the second note. Gil saves chord 1 for this note rather than the first one, as it's the actual point of rest. This happens here as well. Gil isn't afraid to use inversions or other notes in the bass, which keeps the bass line interesting. The first B flat is a great example of this. The B flat in the bass is surprising and has a nice tension. It leads to Gil harmonizing it with an interesting chord. Other surprising notes just in this first 8 bars are this E flat to G, and the B to D. The next couple of phrases exemplify this as well. The texture changes in the next 4 bars and then returns to a soli texture for the next 4. See how interesting the bass part is and the use of contrary motion again? The bass line in this bar is interesting as Gil delays getting to the B flat 7 by putting in an E flat first. This bar is an example of how sometimes Gil unhinges the bass line for a moment. It's a typically Gil Evans touch and is a great way to add interest during longer notes. My second rule is that the melody and bass line shouldn't be the same pitch. Now this one does get broken now and again, but in this example you can see how Gil moves the bass line to avoid having the same pitch in the melody as well. The 5th bar is a good example of this. Gil chooses an inversion instead of leaving a G in the tuba part. He strengthens the D in the bass as well. He uses an inversion on this beat 1 as well. I like how he does this here, as it leads so nicely to the next note, which is more important. Whoops, Gil broke rule 2 here, and here. You can see why he has the same melody and bass note in this part, as it's going from a thin to a thicker texture. Break the rules when you need to. My rule 3 is to fill in 3 inner parts between the melody and bass line. Usually this is to reveal a chord with 5 distinct pitches. Sometimes a note is doubled with the melody or bass, which gives a chord only 4 pitches, and this is okay and is usually done for good voice leading or to avoid a particularly dissonant note. Gil does that quite a few times in this opening. Have a look at how this works on this first chord. In the harmonic area of D major, with an E in the melody and a B flat in the bass. There are only a certain amount of inner parts that would work. Gil chose a D, F, and an A, which gives us a B flat major 7, sharp 11. Let's have a look at how this works in this passage. Gil chose diatonic notes primarily to fill in the inner voices. Some of these notes are doubled. The only non-diatonic note in these two beats is this A sharp or B flat. So the harmony is actually quite simple other than this changed note. I think it shows the power of an interesting bass line. The A sharp just gives it a nice little twist that recalls the first chord. Hey, I hope you're finding this interesting. Give this a go on a ballad or tune you've been working on. I usually make this one of the first things I do when arranging a tune, as I can find interesting lines, counterpoint, and harmonies that I'll use throughout the piece. Now my final rule, rule 4, is don't repeat notes in the same part in a row. This allows each horn player to move their line as the others move. I think it helps the music swing, and often it can give you interesting harmonies as well. The passage in bar 2 is a good example of this. Instead of writing in a diatonic B here, which would give us a nice G6 chord, Gil opts for the A sharp, giving us the interesting G minor 6 chord. Give this a try yourself, and you'll come up against this problem quite quickly. Sometimes being forced to change something can reveal something creative. Of course, if you don't like the sound, don't do it. Gil avoids repeating notes in this moment as well by using a flat 5 and flat 9, which move by semitone in the next chord. I know this note looks like it's repeated, but it's in a different instrument. Sorry I haven't gone into orchestration in this video. To finish the analysis, I label the completed chords in 4 categories. This helps me to figure out what chords to add in my own harmonizations. The categories are target chords, functional chords, diatonic chords, and other chords. Target chords are the important moments of a melody, not necessarily the important beats. Functional chords are 5 chords and secondary dominants that lead to their respective ones. Diatonic chords are fairly self-explanatory, and other chords are the ones which can't be categorized so easily. They are usually derived from some interesting voice leading. I have a video I did ages ago about boplicity which outlines this as well, in case you'd like to see this applied to another piece. And if you're really into this stuff, you can purchase my intermediate workbook. It's a collection of ideas and teachings that I've condensed from studying Gil and Bach over the years. It has heaps of exercises and examples of voicings, 5-part harmony, and how to harmonize passages in a soli type of texture. It even has the answers in the back. A link is in the description. That's it for this video. If you don't know it already, have a listen to Moon Dreams from the classic album Birth of the Cool. There are so many more treasures in it than just these 16 bars. Thanks so much to my supporters, and if you'd like to support my work, you can visit my Ko-fi page.